Good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the corruption detector, and this is your Red Pill news. I hope everyone's having a lovely day and that you got a chance to see yesterday's video. There is so much news to report. Things are heating up by the moment. But first, let me take a moment to make sure that you are still subscribed and that you have notifications on, and that you've selected all notifications for my channel. If you have, then I really appreciate it. And if you could, at the end of the video, and you appreciate the information, if you could like and share this video at the end, it really does help me beat the algorithm and get the real news out. Well, first of all, today, guys, we've got some new posts from our favorite Anon. We've got some excellent video clips from my friend Methods about the IG report and the sham impeachment hearings. We've also made a connection between Adam Schiff and the Burisma scandal, which might explain why he's pushing so hard to stop the Ukraine investigation. And a surprising development from Israel: Benjamin Netanyahu has been indicted for bribery and more. They are saving Israel for last. Well, Joe DeGeneva is also making some public statements about George Soros. The director of prisons has made a startling admission about the investigation into the death of Jeffrey E. John Radcliffe dominated his line of questioning in the sham impeachment inquiry, and Joe Biden is a grandfather again. Congrats, Joe! And finally, Iranians are rising up against the Mullah regime, and it's being suppressed by the fake stream media. We've got all this and more, so please sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, and we'll be right back after a quick word from my sponsor. If you're in pain and want results, not promises, you need a product with decades of proven results. The Sedona Pro PEMF is used by clinics, professional sports teams, and customers worldwide that are raving about their amazing results, increased energy, and how much healthier and better they feel. Our team provides free lifetime training and support that delivers results. Sedona Pro PEMF is natural, non-invasive, and drug-free. So call Coach Jimmy K today at 503-395-4142 or go to the link below, SedonaProPEMF.com, and get yours today. All right, guys, thanks for sticking around. First of all, today we have a post that came out late yesterday evening, 9:03 p.m., 3611. It's entitled Clinton Foundation, Ukraine and Quid Pro Quo. It says, the Clinton Foundation, Quid Pro Quo, Internal Alarm, How to Frame and Defend. And then it links to an email from the Podesta emails. And it says, read carefully. Note, Podesta emails, non-public, which means this is an internal email, and a fact, Ukraine is the single largest Clinton Foundation donor. Coincidence? I think not. Let's take a look at the email. All right, and here we are. It is regarding a follow-up on the HRC idea regarding the foundation. We can see that multiple HillaryClinton.com emails are copied, including Brian Fallon, JP right there. And it says, agree with Jen. Also tend to agree with her going before him. Anything other than her taking quid pro quo off the table, I believe that would be, included what would say first, won't take questions about her actions off the table. So specifically discussing a quid pro quo relationship, and it has to do with the fact that her foundation was taking in lots of money. It continues, why do you think she needs to do this before WJC, William Jefferson Clinton? Ditto with John, would need to be prepared more, but would be fantastic to limit to one. And fine with the proposed way of handling what she says, but hard setting to take only one question. And first of all, thanks for all the marathon session today. I thought we got a lot of good work done. Second, I want to follow up on the idea of HRC doing the video. Having thought about it and talked to Craig and Maura about it, I don't think it is a good idea for her to do. There aren't great answers, and in many cases, not her place to answer them. But I think it does make sense for her to publicly state that she never did anything at state to help a donor. Now, whether they are talking about a specific country or organization like Ukraine, or if they are just speaking kind of broadly due to the fact that there were many different instances where the Clinton Foundation and Hillary were accused of quid pro quo relationships based upon her status as Secretary of State and the fact that her foundation was taking in all this money, that is unknown. Philippe Rains, who has blocked me on Twitter, has been a proponent of this. She could frame it this way. Number one, very proud of Clinton Foundation work. Number two, think people donate to it because they want to support good works. Number three, if anyone did ever give money in hopes of influencing something state did, they are foolish because she never did that and never would. Secretary of State makes life and death decisions, and those kinds of political considerations don't come into play. Right. At least this way, she will have taken off the table any notion that there was a quid pro quo, when in fact there must have been, even if some donors may have had bad intentions. I think we should do this before the William Jefferson Clinton interview airs on Monday, which may mean that tomorrow is the last chance she will have, where she will be in front of the press. They won't be at fundraisers, but will probably be outside them, so she could take a cue. Take a cue. What do others think? Clearly, they are discussing the way that they need Hillary Clinton to cover up the fact that the Clinton Foundation was used as a quid pro quo machine while she was in the office of Secretary of State. How ironic that we have clear-cut evidence of quid pro quo between Secretary Clinton, Hillary Clinton, her foundation, and multiple countries and individuals, yet they are trying to pin this idea on President Trump. Once again, the very example of projection. Moving on to post 3612, time for Senator Graham, chair of the Senate Committee on the Judiciary, to act. And our favorite Anon says, Chairman Graham, it's time. Senate was the target. This was at 9:26 p.m. Now, this takes us directly into Senator Lindsey Graham's interview with Sean Hannity last night. Let's go ahead and take a look at the clip from Methods, and it's regarding the IG report. All right. And Method says right here, Graham says the IG report will be out December 9th. So here again, we have a firm date on this. I think this is going to line up correctly with the timeline that we've got so far. If we're looking at big stuff to be taking place on December 1st through 6th, the December 9th would be just after the weekend. It would give them time to allow all that stuff to kind of percolate into the American consciousness. And it looks like Senator Graham has been activated. Now, let's go ahead and take a listen to the clip.
I'm hoping we get a number of days and not on a Friday, a dump.
It'll be December the 9th. You'll get the report.
December the 9th. That's locked.
That's locked.
Okay.
All right. There, he said it. It is locked. I think that they've had ample time to make sure that anything they wanted to take out, anything they needed to obscure, anything they needed to redact, that's already been taken care of. And it's also given them ample time to add in as much as they needed to. So guys, get ready. We're going to be looking at December 9th for our IG report reading party. All right, now another video clip from Methods. This is Devin Nunes today in the sham impeachment inquiry, laying the groundwork. Let's go ahead and take a listen to this.
You heard Dr. Hill's testimony, but the Steele dossier that contained initially that initial information that was fed in the FBI, were you aware that the Democrats had paid for that information?
So, sir, I never had any involvement directly with it.
I'm not accusing of involvement. I'm just asking if you, not even if you knew at the time, but you now know today that the Democrats had paid for that information.
So I do want to be clear that all that happened before I arrived in Ukraine, so I don't have any firsthand.
Not accusing any involvement of you with the Steele dossier.
Understood, but I do want to be clear about that. And then in addition, I have read about those issues, but I'm not an expert on them.
But you're not disputing that the Democrats and the Clinton campaign were the source of funds that funded the Steele dossier?
I wouldn't be in a position to dispute that, sir.
Do you think it's appropriate for political parties to run operatives in foreign countries to dig up dirt on their opponents?
No.
Dr. Hill, do you think it's appropriate for political parties to pay operatives to dig up dirt on their opponents?
I do not.
Well, there you have it. Devin Nunes laying the groundwork. He proved right then and there that the funding of the Steele dossier by the DNC and Hillary Clinton and her campaign is indefensible. And it certainly does not rise anywhere near the level of the Ukraine not receiving their aid money from the United States of America. A lot of different factors in play there. But this right here is clear collusion between the Ukrainians and the Clinton campaign. We've got the receipts, guys. It's all done and paid for, and it is a bunch of disinformation. Steele dossier was trending on Twitter earlier today, and I bet you this had something to do with it. All right, and not to stray too far away from the impeachment inquiry, Methods put this together. Adam Schiff is connected to both BlackRock and Franklin Templeton Investments, the two companies that were named in the $7.4 billion Burisma U.S.-Ukraine corruption claim that was announced yesterday. Let's go ahead and take a look. This appears to be a list of donators to the Adam Schiff campaign. And right there, we've got BlackRock California Municipal Income Trust, and they donated somewhere between $5,001 and $15,000. And then BlackRock Municipal Holdings California Quality Fund between $1,001 and $2,500. And here we have Franklin Templeton Mutual Shares Fund Class C, $2,501 to $5,000. And just as a reminder from the Interfax press release yesterday, again, highlighting the fact that on November 14th, the Prosecutor General's office in Ukraine announced and was ignored by the media that the notorious owner of Burisma, ex-ecology minister Zlochevsky, was being indicted, and he was actually arrested. And the problem is that he was laundering criminally obtained income through Franklin Templeton Investments, an investment fund carrying out purchases of external government loan bonds totaling $7.4 billion. Laundering $7.4 billion stolen dollars through these agencies. That would be Franklin Templeton and BlackRock Investment. Now, also connected to those is John Templeton Jr., one of President Barry Obama's major campaign donors. Also, a fund-related character is Thomas Donnellan. And Thomas Donnellan was a managing director of BlackRock Investment Institute, a shareholder in Franklin Templeton Investments, and also was a former Obama national security advisor. Once again, we have all of these major Democrats involved in this incredibly large financial scandal that is centering right now on the Bidens, but looks to be pulling in many other people in the former president's orbit. All right, boom. Representative Ratcliffe gets Undersecretary Hale to admit that U.S. aid was withheld in Pakistan, Lebanon, Honduras, and other countries. It wasn't just Ukraine. Democrats want you to believe that U.S. aid withheld from Ukraine, the most corrupt country in Europe, was a bad thing. Trump withheld the aid after the new government took over. He later released the aid before Ukrainian officials knew it was even delayed. Democrats demand that the U.S. taxpayer-funded aid be delivered to the thankless anti-American regimes without delay. On Wednesday, Representative Ratcliffe pressed Schiff witness Undersecretary Hale on the many times aid was delayed this past year to questionable regimes. As Representative Ratcliffe revealed, U.S. aid was also delayed by the Trump administration to Pakistan, Honduras, Lebanon, and other countries. Ratcliffe says, having no explanation for why aid is being withheld is not uncommon. Undersecretary Hale answered, I would say it is not the normal way we function. And Ratcliffe responds, but it does happen. And Hale says it does happen. Trump's delay in aid to Ukraine was not unique or uncommon. The fake news media won't tell you this, and they are using it to build this impeachment narrative. However, this is business as usual, guys. President Trump is a businessman, and he knows that when it comes to negotiations, sometimes you have to play hardball. And for countries like Honduras, Ukraine, Palestine, all of these places that depend on U.S. aid, if the president wants something to take place, like stopping corruption, withholding U.S. aid is an excellent way to get there. All right, the DNA tests are in, and Hunter Biden, you are the father. It's been a bad week for the Bidens. First, the head of Burisma Holdings was indicted in Ukraine and revealed that Hunter Biden received payments from money raised through criminal means. And now we find out that Hunter fathered a random Arkansas woman's child. Congratulations, Grandpa Joe. A DNA test showed Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, is indeed the father of an Arkansas woman's baby. In June of this year, a 28-year-old Arkansas woman claimed that Hunter Biden was the father of her 10-month-old child, and she sued to prove it. London, Lunden, Alexis Roberts claimed Hunter Biden fathered her child while he was in a relationship with his own late brother's wife, his former sister-in-law, Hallie Biden. Hunter Biden previously denied having any relationship with London Alexis Roberts, but he agreed to take a DNA test when she sued him. Now, this is from the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. DNA testing has established with scientific certainty that Hunter Biden is the father of an Arkansas baby, according to a motion filed Wednesday in Independence County on behalf of the child's mother, London Alexis Roberts. Biden, son of former Vice President Joe Biden, is not expected to challenge the results of the DNA test or the testing process. Former Vice President Joe Biden launched his 2020 campaign and is seeking the nomination of the Democrat Party for president, and his son Hunter has been making headlines ever since. In June, Breitbart News exclusively obtained a police report from November of 2016, just days before Election Day, describing how a crack pipe was found in Hunter Biden's rental car. A used crack pipe, credit cards, a Delaware Attorney General badge, U.S. Secret Service business cards, 2 IDs belonging to Hunter Biden, son of former VP Joe Biden, were found in a Hertz rental car in Arizona. If we had a real media, Hunter Biden's corruption involving Burisma Holdings, his drug problem, and the fact that he fathered a child with a woman while dating his dead brother's widow would be blazing headlines everywhere. And guys, that is why myself and other channels like me are here, because we're going to bring you the truth no matter what. Hunter Biden sounds like he has a lot of problems, but I think that probably stems from the fact that he has never had much in the way of consequences. I've stated this before, a lot of people get into drugs when they're younger, and then they find themselves in trouble, and then they straighten their lives out. Hunter Biden has never been forced to straighten his life out. Anytime something happens, he just calls his daddy, and Grandpa Joe comes in, swoops in, and saves the day and takes care of it for him. Hunter Biden has never been forced to face the consequences of his actions. He's never had to actually pay for anything he's ever done. I had heard that a crack pipe was found in Hunter Biden's rental car. I didn't realize that it was so recently, November of 2016. That's pretty dismaying. But I think that one good thing, one silver lining out of all this is that the more attention Hunter Biden draws to his family and the problems that they are consistently embroiled in, I think that the less likely it becomes that Joe Biden will ever place anywhere near President Donald Trump when it comes to 2020. Now, saving the best for last yet again. However, we're in the middle this time. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at this. Benji got indicted. Netanyahu charged with bribery, fraud, and breach of trust in dramatic development. Let's take a look. Netanyahu becomes the first sitting prime minister in Israel's history to be charged with bribery in case involving nothing other than quid pro quo with a telecom tycoon. For the first time in Israel's history, a sitting prime minister is accused of bribery. Attorney General Pkwy Mendelblit announced Thursday Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu would be charged with bribery, fraud, and breach in 3 corruption cases, dubbed cases 4000, 2000, and 1000. The indictment comes after a 4-day hearing with Netanyahu's defense team last month, followed by weeks of intensive discussion at the Attorney General's offices. Laying out the charges in a press conference, Mendelblit said he made the decision to indict the prime minister with a heavy heart but wholeheartedly, stressing it was not an issue of left-wing or right-wing politics and that enforcing the law is not a matter of choice. The Attorney General lamented that while conducting a professional hearing process, we've witnessed repeated attempts to delegitimize the people who were involved in the investigations. He defended his colleagues, saying these people acted out of proper motives. The delegitimization was meant to create the impression that any decision taken would be wrong. The investigations are based on broad-based evidence and testimony which were professionally reviewed, so no stone was left unturned. Following the announcement, Netanyahu called the indictment an attempted coup against him and that the process was meant to topple him. Now, I don't know that much about Israeli politics. I know I do have some Israeli viewers, and I've been told that the swamp is pretty deep over there as well. So anyone who has a bit of perspective on what's going on over there, please do let me know. Is Netanyahu part of the swamp, or is he fighting the swamp? And I really want to hear from as many people as possible. Now, it says after Netanyahu delivered his statement, his political rival and Kahol Lavan Gantz said he has complete confidence in the judicial system led by Attorney General Pkwy Mendelblit. I'm sure they are doing their job with professionalism, integrity, and loyalty. Israel is not undergoing a government coup, rather an entrenchment in power. Netanyahu has proven tonight that he must leave his post and focus on his legal woes. He is too aware of the major complex challenges Israel is facing both in the field of security and in socioeconomic matters, which require the full attention, strength, and energy of a prime minister. Former Deputy Army Chief and Democratic Union lawmaker Yair Golan called on the legal advisor to the Knesset, Eyal Yinan, and the Attorney General to clarify whether a person charged with criminal offenses can be nominated by a majority of lawmakers as a candidate tasked to form a government coalition. Wow. Let's see, what are these cases about? Case 4000 is considered the most serious and revolves around an alleged bribery deal between Netanyahu and businessman Shaul Elovic, who controlled the Bezek telecommunications company and the Walla news site. According to the indictment, Netanyahu and Elovic engaged in a quid pro quo deal in which Netanyahu, as communication minister, led regulatory steps directly tied to Elovic's businesses and interests that yielded the tycoon some $500 million. And in return, according to the indictment, Netanyahu and his wife Sarah made consistent requests to alter the coverage on the Walla News website in order to serve the Netanyahu's interests and target their opponents. Wow, it says that he pressed editors to the website to comply with their demands. Substantial circumstantial evidence convinced Mendelblit that both Elovic and Netanyahu were aware of the quid pro quo, though there is no evidence of an explicit coordination of the deal. Let's take a look for Case 2000, breach of trust. At the center of Case 2000 is a series of meetings between Netanyahu and the publisher of Yedioth Ahronoth daily newspaper, Arnon Moses, in which they allegedly discussed a bribery deal. According to the indictment, the deal called for Netanyahu to try to limit the circulation of a rival newspaper, Israel Hayam, and in return, Moses would give Netanyahu favorable coverage. Okay, these are fairly similar here, looking for favorable coverage in both. Seems kind of clear-cut. In Case 1000, Netanyahu is also accused of fraud and breach of trust over gifts he allegedly received from Hollywood mogul Arnon Milchan and billionaire James Packer. According to that indictment, Netanyahu received cigars and champagne from the two over the course of several years. And also his family members demanded and received gifts from businessmen, and Netanyahu was aware of that. All right, so it looks like he's receiving gifts. He is demanding that certain media companies give him favorable coverage. Neither of those things are very good looks for the Prime Minister of Israel. Now, I'd really like to know about the politics of the people involved here, the man who decided to charge the Prime Minister, and the people that are trying to bring these cases against him. Although it seems like they've got enough evidence to go ahead and convict. Please, guys, tell me your thoughts. Is Netanyahu part of the swamp, or is he fighting against it? He's looking kind of swampy to me. All right, and speaking of the swamp, a quote from Joe diGenova. He's an oligarch in the classic East European Russian sense. Joe diGenova calls out Obama handler George Soros. We've previously reported that Obama's state and justice departments were assisting George Soros in his attempt to control Ukraine. On Monday, Joe diGenova called out George Soros as a Ukrainian oligarch who is anti-free speech and attacks those who speak freely about him. George Soros is a major Democrat donor and at the same time connected to numerous actions around the world that are very suspicious, if not corrupt and criminal. At the time of the 2017 inauguration, we reported that Soros-related groups were related to every major protest since the November election. Soros was interviewed years ago on CBS's 60 Minutes, where he admitted helping the bad guys in World War II. He helped the bad guys steal from the Jews during the war. Soros is of the same descent himself, and note that even in this video, he parades his activities in the Ukraine. Unfortunately, because of copyright issues, 60 Minutes will not allow me to show the video. So I will include this link in the description, or rather in the pinned comment, and then you can go ahead and check it out for yourself. Now, Soros was reportedly behind the airport protests after President Trump's election. A week before that, Soros was reportedly behind 50 groups involved in the women's protests the day after the inauguration. Reportedly, before that, Soros was connected to the groups demanding election recounts after the November 8th election, and Soros' money was funding more protests during these efforts. And DC Leaks released information showing that Soros funded BLM protests across the country. President Trump called out Soros when a couple of his paid stooges attacked Republican Senator Jeff Flake in an elevator, getting him to cave during the Kavanaugh hearing. We reported that a group attacking Judge Kavanaugh and other Trump judicial nominees was being fueled by dark money from George Soros. Soros. Later, Soros was connected to racial riots in D.C. before the midterms. In the past month alone, we reported that a Soros assistant was the official escort for 16-year-old global warming expert Greta Thunberg. Soros was also involved in the Russia collusion scam. He also has been involved with numerous politicians in Europe. In addition, we've reported that George Soros wanted to take over the oil and gas industry in Ukraine. On Monday, Joe DeGenova called out Soros for his anti-free speech positions. Let's go ahead and take a listen to the clip.
He wants to change American society. He doesn't want it to be an open society. He wants it to be a closed society, a society that he runs, that he has influence over.
Sure.
That's fine. He has every right in the world to do that. And he's doing it, by the way, brazenly, going after local DAs to create people who want to destroy local police, who want to destroy law enforcement, who want to change the nature of communities. George Soros has every right in the world to say and do what he's doing. And I have every right in the world to criticize him, except you're not allowed to criticize George Soros. You're not allowed to tell the truth about a Hungarian-American oligarch. And make no mistake about it, he is an oligarch in the classic Eastern European Russian sense. He is an oligarch. Vast power, vast influence, perfectly fine. He's entitled to have it. He made his money by being a currency manipulator and a currency trader, disrupting world economies for fun and profit, and he's allowed to do that. But he also thinks he's not allowed to be criticized. That's not the way this country runs.
Joe's right. That is not the way this country runs. If George Soros wants to buy his way into the country, wants to control things, then we have every right in our free and open society to pick apart his actions. Unfortunately, he's bought up so much influence and so much power, and he wields so much power with the amount of money that he throws around. He has protection. He has protection from so many different places. And Joe DeGenova made some really excellent points there. George Soros is an oligarch. All right, now there was a hearing yesterday in the Judiciary Committee, and it looks like the Director of Prisons admits that the FBI is investigating a criminal enterprise for Jeffrey E.'s death. The Director of the Federal Bureau of Prisons, Kathleen Hawk Sawyer, admitted to Lindsey Graham that the FBI is investigating a criminal enterprise for being invested in the death of Jeffrey E. Fascinating stuff. Let's go ahead and listen.
As I indicated in my opening statement, I wanted to talk about the death of Mr. Epstein. Do you concur with the opinion that it was a suicide?
That was the finding of the coroner, sir.
Okay. Do you have any evidence to suggest otherwise?
I do not.
How could this have happened?
Unfortunately, sir, the death and the whole situation is still under the investigation of the FBI and the Inspector General's office, and I'm really not at liberty to discuss specifics of this case. I can discuss issues around institutional operations, but I can't specifically talk about that particular issue.
Okay. With a case this high profile, there's got to be either major malfunction of the system or a criminal enterprise at foot to allow this to happen. So are you looking at both? Is the FBI looking at both?
If the FBI is involved, then they are looking at criminal enterprise, yes.
Well, there you have it. The FBI is involved, so they are looking at criminal enterprise. This is more than just a reported suicide, guys. No matter whose body that was carried out of that prison and into that hospital in New York, this clearly looks like something that was staged, that was set up. I think the arrest of those prison guards is a really good indicator that they are on the trail of exactly what happened. I think it's still very possible that he could be in hiding and being protected by the DOJ, and perhaps there was someone who was placed in his prison cell, and that is who was murdered. Well, we're just going to have to continue to watch, and this is really, really good news. All right, guys, that is all the time we have for today, but before I go, I would like to put everyone's attention squarely on Iran. Please do keep the people of Iran in your prayers. They are in the midst of rising up against their dictatorship, the regime, the Khomeini regime that has controlled the country for decades. There are many people in the streets all over the entire country. Many government buildings have been taken over, burned out. Many cars have been burned out. There are deaths over 100. There have even been Iranian soldiers that have been, let's say, deleted by their superior officers because they have refused to open fire against the Iranian people. The people of Iran are a good people, and they are in the same position as we are. In a different way, but they are ruled by their own swamp. Unfortunately, the United States had a lot to do with that many years ago, helping to put them into power. The actions that were taken by the clowns in America, acting there in Iran, led directly to the Iranian regime that we see in power today. And it may even go deeper than that. All right, everyone, that's all I have for you today. I want to thank everyone for joining me. As always, this has been Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this was your Red Pill News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless. Hey guys, it's Red Pill. I just wanted to say one more thing. Thank you very much to all my patrons. Thank you to everyone who supports this channel. If anyone wants to help out, there are links in the description of this video below. Please make sure to subscribe to my backup channels in case anything happens here. I will begin publishing there. And if you guys have any questions or tips for me, please send me an email at redpill78@protonmail.com. Also, don't forget to make sure that you have notifications turned on for this channel. When you go to my channel page, there is a little bell. Click that bell and choose all notifications. And if you don't have one already, go sign up on Twitter and follow me there and make sure that your notifications are on. Because even if you don't get a notification from YouTube, I always have a notification that goes out on my Twitter page that lets you know every time I put out a new video. I look forward to reading your messages. I look forward to getting the news to you on a daily basis, and I look forward to seeing you all again in the next